it's a hit and miss, but when they get it right, horror literature has always been somewhere a few rungs below drama and comedy and the rest of them, right? The reason for that is because it's not also been explored well elsewhere. But when done well, you go to the Oscars.
You were off to Turkey recently. How was that trip like?
Oh, great. I bought some evil eyes from there. Great food, some great meats, mixed grilled stuff. It's fantastic.
And coincidentally, a film was also being shot there.
I was passing by and I saw that shoot. It has something to do with the image that was built around things and how much that would last. And how to detach and kind of try different things. I knew there would be a bleeding period when you detach, because when you're famous for a certain kind of film, for a certain genre.
Hi guys, this is Himesh and welcome to Pinkvilla. Today we have with us Emraan Hashmi and Nikita Dutta, who are all gearing up for their horror thriller, Dybbuk.
Dybbuk. That's all right.
It's all right.
It's cool. I wouldn't even get it right the first time around. It took me a couple of months.
It's Dybbuk.
Dybbuk.
Okay. So, Emraan, to start with, you started your career in Bollywood as an assistant director on Raz.
Yes.
After that, you have done so many horror films and now you are returning to the genre again.
This is the fourth one, yes.
So, how does it feel getting back to the genre after, I think last was Ek Thi Dain or Raz?
Yeah. Ek Thi Dain was the last one. And I think for the longest time, I told myself, I won't do a horror film till it does something. I mean, it surprises me as an artist to be part of. And also something different for the audience. Yeah. I think the audience has grown a lot since the advent of OTT and generally the fantastic theatrical releases that you had since my last release, like Conjuring, Annabelle. And nothing excited me to that level as did this. So this came to me in 2018 end. Oh. And we started filming this in 2019. And I was a big fan of the original. And then when I saw what Jay did to the script and how he enhanced the horror, how he changed these and tweaked these things, because we were going from 2017 where the original was made, Ezra, and we could be releasing this sometime as is right now. It was leaps and bounds of what he had done with it. So I'm very happy to be back in the genre. It will take me again a few years to come back because I would again look for something new, unique and unpredictable, which is very tough in these times, at least, when people are seeing so much of horror, and I mean just generally, not just for the horror fans, for any genre.
True. But how did the two of you all react when this subject came your way? Did you, after watching the original film vis-a-vis the script, what was your reaction like to the changes? And
I loved it. I took the narration and I said yes right there. It didn't take me time to think about it because I was very keen to know what the director was going to do to the material of the original. Again, they say don't mess around with a great concept, but what he had done, and the good thing is the same director coming and making the Hindi version. So I was pleasantly surprised. And I generally take time to say if I want to do it or I don't want to do it, take that decision over the course of a couple of days. I sleep over it. But I remember this one was it. When I heard it, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And I was on the project.
Okay. And for you, Nikita?
So,
do you know how the script?
That's
you don't know the script.
I was given the film to watch.
Okay.
Which you didn't watch.
After I met Jay. And I'm personally not somebody who's very comfortable with horror films. I get scared very easily. But also I think in my, from my point of view, I'm in that space where I want to experiment with genres. So Ezra's, technically it was the first film I had signed right after Kabir Singh. So for me it was something new, it was something very different I would be doing that I've not done on screen so far. And I remember when I watched it, I was of course very scared. I had my mom sitting next to me.
How much of the film did you watch?
Huh?
How much of the film did you watch?
As I watch all the horror films like this. Though I had to watch this properly because that was their way of giving me the script.
Yeah.
So yes, it did scare me a lot. And it was something I felt that I want to do.
And how do the two of you see evolution of horror genre in Bollywood over the years?
She's not seen the evolution of horror because she doesn't watch horror.
I'm actually the wrong person here.
And you have seen it.
She's the evolution of two films.
I have, no, I don't want to say the horror film I watched, but I have seen Jani Dushman, the old and the slightly newer one. I've seen both.
You have not seen Bhoot?
I have seen Bhoot also, the
Ajay
Urmila one.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Wow, I'm
I've
impressed.
seen Orphan, that's one film I forgot to mention.
God, you're killing it over here. It's like hitting all of them out of the park.
No, it stops right here.
Over there.
It stops right here. Yeah.
But often, it's not technically a
I got
supernatural
very
horror film.
scared
It
in
is, yeah,
the
it is a
I
scary
got
film, but it's
very
not a horror.
Yeah.
Sorry, the question was how do I see the evolution
Yeah.
of horror films? Obviously for me the evolution began way before at least the films in the 80s when I was growing up. I remember seeing Mahal.
Okay.
And that time I saw it on Doordarshan. I was very intrigued when I saw the film. I loved that song, Ashok Kumar's song, Aayega Aane Wala.
Yeah.
That kind of sparked that thing for horror. And then I've been guilty of watching a couple of Ramsey films. Guilty pleasure during the 80s. Oddly exciting. I don't know if I can watch them now, but I was very entertained when I watched them back in the day. And I think we still are a long shot from what other cinemas have gotten to with horror, because just the sheer number of people who have made horror films, I don't think we have too many directors who understand horror. One of the most frightening experiences I've had with the Indian horror film has been RGV's Raat.
Oh yes.
Oh my! I mean, that film stays with you. Although it has imports from Hollywood, but the way RGV put that film together, that's again genre defining for me as far as Hindi films go. And that's it. Then it stopped there. I don't think there were any good films after that. I don't know if I can really say there was anything after Raat that would be defining. Bhoot, although they say it's RGV's best, I liked it. I saw it in the theatre, but I think it had too many jump scares and some of very cliche jump scares of the doorbell ringing, and the audience was getting frightened. But for a horror fan, I honestly was not as much as Raat, although it was a good film. And then I think I had a wave of my own films that were kind of successful in their own right. I mean, you can criticize a few but still there was a fantastic sensory experience in a very different way. Raz 3 was engaging to the point with 3D, and it was a very different experience for the audience and one of the biggest hits in the genre. So I think we're a long shot away from actually reaching any point with the genre, because there are not too many horror films. We should be making more.
True. So is this a space like you said that you won't do another horror film for a long time going forward till the time? But do you think as an actor, since there is a wide audience who wants to watch this genre of film, this is a space that you can crack, given that
if you get it right, you have so many horror fans that'll come in numbers, and we have seen it with a film like Conjuring back in the day. I think it released in 2015. I think it did around 50 to 60 crores at the box office back then.
Even Raz
fantastic
did
numbers.
Some,
Raz
60,
Raz did around 70, 75 CR. So if you do it right and engage the audience in a good way, you make it unpredictable and give them a good horror experience. The numbers are Ezra was biggest Malayalam hit, 50 plus crores. Great for Malayalam business. One of the biggest hits there. So if done right, I think, and there should be more horror films made.
There is a huge percentage of people who love horror films. I'm a part of a very small percentage. There is a huge percentage.
No, but there is the emotion of fear is very strong. Even though you might not be watching them, but still like you said, you don't watch it, but you prefer watching it this way. So.
But that's with me, and even with thrillers. I do the same thing with thrillers. Like the moment there's supposed to be some revelation, something's happening, I'll suddenly go in a shell, try to hide myself.
Also in Hollywood, I think they have this a hit and miss, but when they get it right, horror literature has always been somewhere a few rungs below drama and comedy and the rest of them, right? The reason for that is because it's not also been explored well elsewhere. But when done well, you go to the Oscars. Like you have The Exorcist, Silence of the Lamb, Misery. These films, Shining, they all made it to the Oscars, and they're all horror films. And they were made well.
Even right now, Quiet Place, like after the reopening of cinema, Quiet Place 2 did so well. It did better than many superhero films as well. So And Nikita, this is your first horror film and also your first film with Emraan. How was the experience like of acting in a horror film as well as working with him?
Terrible second.
Two bad questions in one go. No. I had a really good experience working with Emraan. Of course, I think all of us. So Emraan's always been very kind of away from the. He doesn't let his himself like come out right in front of the camera. So
because I'm playing a character.
Yeah, he's always
Don't
playing a
let myself
character,
come out.
and off the camera you don't know how is Emraan. So
How dare you?
Yeah, nobody knows how you are. No, it's only when you get to
because
speak
I
to each
choose,
other.
Yeah, probably that.
And I remember the first time we got talking was when I got to know we actually live like 2 buildings away, and yeah, you're pretty much on the same way, I think. So we hit it off pretty well.
Yeah. The first time I saw her downstairs, I thought she was stalking me. But then I realized that she probably takes walks there.
Yeah.
You know, next to
I walk, I run, I cycle a lot there. So that's why. So I pretty much got along with him very well. So that was a good experience. And with horror, again, my first time watching it so closely, actually acting in it. But it's very different. It's very different when you're actually, playing a part, you're doing a film. It doesn't scare you that much. So I quite enjoyed the experience. It was something new, and it's something I'm experimenting with. I'm very still new to films. I'm still like going out there, figuring out what I like, what I don't like. So it's been a good experience doing this genre.
And like you said in your earlier answer, this is actually a supernatural thriller. You have done supernatural films, you have done thrillers, and now this is a marriage of two worlds. How is that like for you?
I think any good supernatural film could pass off as a good thriller also. And also with horror elements. I think it just depends on how you kind of make the film. But for me, any good horror film has always been thrill-based. There has to be something thrilling and exciting about it. Yes, at the same time, it has to spook you out of your wits. And I think the marriage of the two, if done well, if done in a kind of a realistic way, and kind of keeping away from the usual horror tropes and the cliches and the stereotypes, I think you can make a good film. And this actually had that, because it, I think that the story of this couple, moving into the house, it might seem like a cliche of a horror film, but I think that's where the cliche ends. Because I think what Jay did after that, of taking the film into this unexplored territory of Jewish mythology, occult, was fascinating to me, from the original, and also what he's done with this, with amping up the horror and other elements in the film.
And Emraan, you were off to Turkey recently. How was that trip like?
Oh, great. I bought some evil eyes from there. Great food, some great meats, grilled, mixed grill stuff. It's fantastic.
And coincidentally, a film was also being shot there.
I was passing by and I saw that shoot. I was passing by in a taxi and I saw that shoot. I wanted to get out and take autographs, but I was headed to the airport and then I couldn't.
But on a serious note, now that everyone knows, now could you tell us how was that journey like over there shooting?
I was actually shopping there. Who told you you're shooting there, shopping there?
Oh dear God.
Turkey is a fantastic place to shop. Then I went to Vienna also. Shopping there also is fantastic.
So what did you shop from there? What do you shop from Turkey and Vienna?
Some great heritage sites over there in Vienna.
Yeah.
Some good churches.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Right. So you can become a tour guide there now.
I can. I also got COVID back from there. I had COVID there actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I fell ill there.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a very pleasurable experience, but my stint was very short. I had COVID for exactly 4 days.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's my gift from Vienna that I got back.
See, this is what you have. What happens when you randomly go to shop?
Yeah, you should.
I didn't get a COVID from Vienna. I got it from Bombay, because the incubation period, by the time I landed, I got it in like 2 days. So I'm guessing I picked up something on the flight. I don't think I got it from Vienna.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you won't say anything about the film right now, I know.
I can talk about shopping if you want. I can talk about good places to go to in Vienna and stuff.
Okay, and getting back to the film, it is, like you said, it's based on Jewish mythology. It's a first for Bollywood.
Yes.
Were you aware of Jewish mythology before?
No, I wasn't. Not aware of it at all. I don't even know about the concept of the Dybbuk box. I didn't know what Dybbuk is. And of course, let me educate the audience. It is a ghost. That is that's a Hebrew word for ghost.
Spirit.
Spirit, ghost, the undead. So it's interesting. It was fascinating to know these things, and Jay had done his research and kind of nicely with the writer kind of woven it into the narrative, and it's great. It's fantastic.
And
I think on set we also got to we got to know about the Jewish culture a lot, because of course we had seen the original film, and Jay had somebody on board who kind of took him through the Jewish culture. So in fact, even I didn't know what Dybbuk means until we actually started shooting. And there's a lot of Hebrew that's used there. So that's when you come to know, okay, this is that and this is what is what. So yeah, it was like learning. What?
You've spoken in
Hebrew? No, I didn't have.
Just forgot English right now.
It's better. It's better I forget English at the moment.
Last few questions. Emraan, you are called the Prince of Masses. You know, so many of your films have done well in single screens, and then from Shanghai you shifted gears.
Yeah.
And now we are getting to see the commercial side of you given the films that you are picking. Are you looking to get back into that zone again?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
And what is the idea to transition from one space to another and now?
A little bit of boredom, a little bit of feeling that you've hit a kind of a saturation point. It has something to do with the image that was built around things and how much that would last, and how to detach and kind of try different things. I knew there would be a bleeding period when you detach, because when you're famous for a certain kind of film, for a certain genre, when you do that and that's successful with the audience, and when you step out, you have reasons to step out, because you know that there's only as many scripts as you can explore in this domain, right? But when you step out, the audience is like, okay, it's a little jarring for them, right? It's a little disorienting because they don't see you in that.
Yeah.
So, but it's very important to do that for longevity as an actor. It might be a bleeding phase in your life, and probably some films didn't, do as well.
Yeah.
But I think that was necessary, and that was something that I was prepared for, because I was trying to steer into a certain versatile aspect of an actor, of exploring different characters, more character-based films, and I think it's going to start paying off. It has already started paying off.
Yeah,
so,
you have a fantastic line.
So,
including the area where you shop for. Yeah. And Nikita, what next for you?
What next for me? Well, as I said, I'm like in my space of experimenting with genres at the moment. So up next is a film that is entirely a dance-based film. So I think I'm very happy to kind of switch things what I'm doing. Like for this, I had to take workshops in a certain way. For the next film, I have to do workshops in a certain way because, of course, it's more dance-based. So I'm liking this space that I'm exploring different things and trying it out, see what I like, see what works. So that's currently where I am at the moment.
Fabulous dancer, by the way.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, being humble, I think so. And Emraan, what next for you? Can you tell us what's in the...
He's only shopping at the moment.
There are so many films which are being spoken about. There's also a film with Akshay which people are talking about. So.
Yeah, I'll just reserve that for a later date on announcements. Right now, I'm very excited about this one. I think this is for me, it's a very special film because of the genre, horror, and because I believe in the material and the film that Jay has made. And yeah, just waiting for that. And yes, there are some special films that are slated for 2022. The reason why I'm not talking about it at this point is, hold your breath. It's because I want the audience to go and enjoy it in the theater and not have a preconceived notion at this point. I'm a little low-key about it. Just want people to see me in a way different of that.
Correct. Yeah. And we have 2 fan questions for you from Pinkvilla Rooms.
Yes.
The first one is from Nishant Dogra. If you had an option of giving one of your movies an OTT-only release instead of a wide theatrical release, which one would it be?
I think in today's times, if I go back, there would be 1 or 2 films I would put out on OTT. Not because I felt that there's not apt for theatrical, but I think it's great for the evolved OTT audience, and that is Shanghai and Ghanchakar.
I love them both.
Shanghai, which is the second one?
Ghanchakar.
Yes.
Ghanchakar is a dark comedy, and Shanghai is obviously, it's a good film. Yes, got the love, and it probably, people felt that, it didn't get as much love at that point of time, but 2 very special films.
And a second question is from Anmol Dikshit. You have defied a lot of rules of what a quintessential Bollywood hero should be like, and this has personally helped me in feeling confident about myself. Were you ever skeptical of your success as an actor?
My grandmom was a leading lady. She was an actress back in the 40s and 50s. And she had actually told me that don't be a hero. She said don't be a leading man because it's very tough. I don't know if you fit into that mold. And this is way back when I was like 18 and when I was almost on the edge of making that decision. And I said, if I won't play a leading man, I won't get into this business. And I just said it, and it was a clear conviction in doing what I felt in a very focused way that I would be good at, and not, bite into the traditional Bollywood elements, because I don't think like that. I think different, and I think my films, all the filmmakers found me then, in a way. I think you don't pick your films choose you.
True, yeah.
And you have a certain way of thinking, you'll get this kind of films, you put it out there. So I got films that were very unique in their own way that kind of reaffirm what I think. And if this person wants to be an actor, I think he should just stick to his guns and just do what he believes in, and not bite, into something that's traditional, just because it is.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you, and good luck for the film.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.